Hello, everybody, and welcome to Career Conversations, a series of short conversations with Illinois Tech alumni to learn about their career journeys and to gain advice on how students and new alumni can get a foot in the door in their industries. Today, I'm speaking with Saumya Gupta, a 2019 graduate of Illinois Tech with a Master's of Science degree in Computer Hardware Engineering. Saumya currently works as an embedded system engineer with MindMics in Boston. Thanks for speaking with me today, Saumya. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and it feels great to talk to Illinois Tech people. Been missing the campus and the ease of just doing whatever. Work is very, but
Sure,
yeah,
sure. Well, I'm glad we're able to take your mind off of work
yes,
for a few minutes today. So before we really get into your career experience so far, I wanted to first start and have you tell me a little bit about your experience at Illinois Tech. What sort of organizations, activities. I know you worked for Career Services, so you can talk a little bit about that as well. So just tell me how you spent your time at Illinois Tech.
So, as an international student and as a graduate student, it was slightly different. And I mean, and in my undergrad, I took part in a lot of student orgs, and I had done all the going up the ladder from second year to third year. So I wanted to do something different, and I chose to do research. And I was part of the ECASP lab run by Dr. Sani, who's the head of department in the ECE department. Um, and I was part of the lab initially as a one credit course, and then I did my master's thesis with him. And that was really helpful because I was with other students who are interested in research. And that also built my portfolio and my resume really well. And the other thing that I did a lot on campus, which really helped, was career services, as you already know. Even though initially I was just the student assistant and I wasn't really helping students per se in terms of telling them what to do, it was still the book of 2 hour job search was still kept right next to the desk, and I found myself uh, really learning the steps and getting really involved in all the things, and also thanks to you all meeting other people that came to campus and knowing about the events that are happening when companies help them. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I always love to hear from former student workers that the 2 hour job search, which we pushed for all of our students, was definitely helpful in the process. And I'm sure, and like you said, the research I know certainly made a big difference. So tell me about the journey to find your current position. I know this is your second role post graduation, and then if you can remind everybody, did you do an internship while at Illinois Tech, and how did you find that opportunity? So kind of think about your journey of
Yeah.
finding your first experience and then kind of moving through your experiences so far.
So in completing my second semester, I was interning at a place called Swarm Robotics, which is located in Naperville. The experience itself did not go as expected. I found it through LinkedIn, and it was a small company and the management was terrible. But something I learned that is very important is that when I'm interviewing, it's not only the company who is interviewing me and asking questions, it's equally important for me to get to know them and me to make a judgment on whether they are a good fit for me or not. Something as students usually forget, and we're so busy impressing that when we even ask questions to the employer, we're just looking to impress them because we heard in a career talk that to show that we're highly interested, we should ask questions. But I think it's important for all the students to really evaluate what do they want, um, you know, and what is important to them. It could just be, hey, what are the actual working hours? Will I have work-life balance? Or it could be, will I get to work on this kind of technology? But know what's important to you and ask the questions and ask if it's a small company, definitely ask about their funding, because you want to not just sound smart, but you want to make sure that you're making the right step. After that, after learning all of this, through Handshake, I came to know about Sincerion. I had a great time there. I interned for them through fourth semester, partially through the summer, and then even after I graduated, I was going to join them full time. However, because of COVID, they were not able to hire me full time. But because of the relationship I had developed with them, they still took me on as an intern, and they were like, "We understand you have visa problems. Until you figure out other things, you can, you always have a door open here for with us." Which is another thing is that which I learned with them was that it's not just developing personal relationships is really useful, and that it's not wrong for you to just spend some time with your colleagues discussing nothing, the TV shows or going out for lunch or dinner just to hang out, because then they understand you as a person, and it helps you, not just in that manner, but in the future job search. You're willing, I know if I need a reference, they'll always be able to provide that. Then, while because of the COVID situation, I started doing the next, looking for the next job, and while I was working at Sincere, I was working on ventilators. So I wanted to delve into medical devices because I felt like I was adding value, not just building some gadgety thing that, someone will buy for a year and throw it away. Which is what is most electronic devices. So I was, going through LinkedIn and not just reaching out to people I met in my grad school, but also reaching out to people I met in my undergrad, making sure and checking on what are those people doing. And then I came across an old, you know, a person I knew years ago, and I was able to reach out, and he was working here in Boston area with a company called MindMics, where they're developing these earbuds which will allow continuous monitoring of your vitals. And so I interviewed with them, and because he knew me, it was he said that she's a good candidate, and that helped me get into the door. So definitely networking, asking questions, and even when you're inside, continue to build upon things is some of the things that I've taken away while doing job search.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all that about your journey so far. And like you just mentioned, you mentioned some really important things about building personal relationships, networking. I also like what you said at first about what your experience was in college of really doing some self-reflection on understanding what you really wanted to be doing. And I think that's a really important point. I feel like, from my experience, you have a lot of students that they just want to do whatever they can do with their major, and they never really really pinpoint it or focus it down, because even within the different engineering disciplines, there's lots of different pathways you can go down, a lot of different directions, industries, and just you can get more and more specific. And I think the more and more specific you get, the the more you can focus your search, your networking, your relationship building. So that's really great. So I think you kind of answered this to a certain extent, but I wanted to know if you had anything to add to say what actions you recommend for current students looking to work in your industry as an intern or a full-time professional.
If something I would be useful, someone looking into medical devices, is take a course on campus that covers FDA approvals and international standards required for medical devices, because that is something that is used, that all your large companies will not, let you interview without. I thankfully, got through a smaller company, and in the future, I can use this experience to say I'm familiar with those things. But you know, if you're able to pin down the kind of role you want, read up on the job description. In there, not just one job description, but multiple across different companies, and there'll be some baseline things all of them require, and try to build to that. Try to take courses towards that when you're a student, and if you've already graduated, still in your current job, build towards that, or take online courses and build towards that.
Great, that's great advice. Thank you for that. So what do you think are the most important skill sets for success in your industry right now? And then also, how do you see your industry changing over the next several years?
I mean, it's changing really fast right now because of COVID. I mean, all industries are. A skill set that we didn't think was important is knowing how to do good Zoom calls and using Zoom backgrounds. And so just most important is just be adaptable, and but just keep your eye on what is going on. But in terms of medical devices, it's gonna there's a lot upcoming. There are a lot of opportunities because now the medical system is going to try to have devices that people have in their homes and the doctors remotely connect to. Not just your Apple Watch, which tells you a number of steps and things like that, but more important devices, because when I've been talking to doctors that we work with during clinical trial, when they're trying to do remote work, they're not able to assess a patient's physical well-being just by them saying I'm okay or I'm not okay. They need some more data, and there are a lot of companies upcoming, and not just small companies, but companies like Apple and Google are also investing a lot of money in this sector, because we are going to see not just terms of COVID, but there are a lot of our parents' age group is a much larger population that's going to require a lot of health care, and they're going to be in remote situations. So definitely, if you want, reach out to me. We can discuss this through LinkedIn, and but it's always been there, because we as humans always need care. We want to make the most of our bodies, but now more than ever, there's a lot of investment going in. So, and something I love about my job is I always feel like I'm contributing, because last month I was running a clinical trial, and I met a lot of patients and learned about their difficulties. So it feels like you're adding value. It's not just a paycheck. So definitely understand how you want to add value.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's such an innovative industry, so many possibilities. And it's great that you're able to know that you're making a difference, and the work that your company is doing is going to be really important in this kind of future of increased understanding of our health, on a day-to-day basis. It's fantastic. So my final question for you is, tell me a little bit about some of the resources you've used to help you in your career, either better understand your industry, or just to have a more successful job search. So thinking about books, podcasts, industry magazines, anything else that has been helpful for you.
As I already mentioned, the 2-hour job search, and also events on campus that keep happening. I mean, I know right now there've been less, but once things are back to normal, definitely the free pizza, along with meeting industry people that come in to talk about their company, is always useful. I did not read any magazine or anything, but I would try to, on LinkedIn, people that I thought, connect with people, who are doing well in the sector I'm interested in, and they would post things. They would post, this is the upcoming thing, or this is interesting. I would just try to read all of that and see what's going on, because people who are all in the center of it usually share information that is more interesting to not only learn about it, but also it adds to conversations when I met someone in a networking event afterwards. So that's something I did.
That's great advice. Another great way of using LinkedIn for the job search beyond networking. So Saumya, that's all I've got for today. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing such great information and great advice for our students. And Illinois Tech community, thank you for watching this session of Career Conversations. We hope you check out our future conversations as well.